Hey there, and welcome back to this First Steps video series. I'm Peter, the pastor of the River Christian Church in Auckland, New Zealand, and we've created this series of videos to help people who are taking their first steps in the Christian faith, to give some pointers and helpful tips to understand what it means to be a Christian and how to grow as a Christian. When we think about Jesus, we often think about someone who lived 2,000 years ago, who died on a cross and rose again. But because we don't see him right now, it's easy for us to forget that he's alive. The Bible tells us that Jesus is with God the Father right now, and that one day Jesus will return back to earth. The Bible actually has a lot to say about Jesus coming back. In fact, there's even prophecies in the Bible and specific things that Jesus said would be happening in the world right before he's returned. And we're starting to see a lot of those things starting to happen in our day. But it also tells us too that no one will know the day or the hour that he returns. So if you see someone wandering around telling everyone the date that the world is going to end, they obviously haven't read the Bible and they're really not speaking on behalf of God. For some people, the idea of Jesus coming back to the world is a bit scary. It makes them feel like everything's coming to an end. But nothing could be actually further from the truth. You see, when Jesus returns, he's going to rule and reign over the earth, and the world will finally, for the first time, experience perfect government and leadership. Everything that is wrong with the world is going to be made right. So how do we live then, knowing that one day, out of the blue, Jesus is going to return? Well, first, it's important to get right with God. Make sure every day that you are putting him first in your life. You're receiving his forgiveness, and you are allowing him to work on your heart and through you. Secondly, make sure that you live your life with great vision for the future. God has got a great plan for your time here on earth, and to be honest, the very best thing you can be doing right now is just getting on with what he's made you to do. Live your life for God with passion, and you can be assured that you're going to be doing the right thing when he returns. Another thing that the Bible teaches us is that at some point after Jesus comes back, there will be a time of judgment, and every person who has ever lived will have to stand before God and give an account for their lives. Now, the Bible says that everyone whose name is not written in the book of life will be thrown into everlasting fire. So believe me, we want our names to be written into that book. So how do we do that? Simple. By believing and by doing what we've already been talking about, by believing in your heart that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, accepting his forgiveness for the wrong things that we've done, and by deciding to live our lives not just for ourselves, but for him. For those of us who are Christians, we'll actually have a different judgment, and it's called the Bema Seat, or trial by fire. The Bible tells us that if we have Jesus in our life, it's like a foundation for our house is laid in our hearts. We can then build on that foundation one of two things. The first are pictured as precious stones, gold and silver, hard to find in the real world. These represent choices that we've made to do God's will instead of ours, or situations that we've walked through where we've hung into his promises, or how we've allowed God to work in our life to develop us into the person that we're called to be. So that's one set of building materials. The other are pictured as wood, hay, and stubble. And like in the real world, these are easier to find and represent easy choices, selfish choices, holding on to unforgiveness, doing things our own way. Every day, we're making the decision to either build with precious stones or with worthless materials. And the final fire will test the quality of what we've built with our lives. The worthless materials will be burned up, but the precious materials will be a reward for us. So, live your life to get the reward. Know that every time you make a decision for Jesus and to follow him, instead of just doing what you want to do, not only does it demonstrate his kingdom here on earth, but it becomes like one rider put another jewel in your crown. Keep your eye on the prize. Don't give up. And make that decision that you're going to keep running for him until the very day that you finally get to meet him. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you in the next video.